Knicks owner James Dolan. James Dolan wrote a letter. He went scorched earth. He turned on the flamethrower against the NBA and their new mega billion dollar, check that, $1 billion media rights deal, and also unloaded on Adam Silver in particular. Now, Dolan accusing the league of trying to disrupt the regional sports network industry, regional cable television involving sports. But wait, there's more. He attacked the revenue-sharing policies. Let's give you the money quote, saying that the NBA has made the move to an NFL model, de-emphasizing and depowering the local market, close quote. So let us discuss the question. Adam Silver was given an opportunity to respond. Why did Adam Silver sidestep addressing the Knicks owner, James Dolan, and his concerns over the direction of the business of basketball, which is plausibly what Adam Silver is hired to do, to manage the business of basketball? So I've got Guillotine, Central Casting, and Rusty Pelican. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are not going to nickel and dime you, which is, assume what Dolan is concerned about, some nickel and diming going on here. So, number one. All right, thank you. James, no, that's actually number, you said 3 times. You did number 3. Now it's 4 times. So James Dolan is looking out across the Serengeti, and he's worried about the golden goose. Now, you don't normally find a goose on the Serengeti, but he's worried about the golden goose. He inherited the goose from his father. Jim Dolan was the guy who gave birth to the bird that's worth all the money. And now Adam Silver and his minions are looking to destroy the bird, right? They've rolled in. Just imagine in that little cartoon bubble over your head, Adam Silver has rolled in with a couple of people from the planet he came from outside the Milky Way. They have rolled in the guillotine, and they're looking to place the neck, the very large neck of the goose, underneath the guillotine, and you know what happens when the thing falls down. If Madison Square Garden Network, better known by its nickname MSG, if that goes away, so does much of the old family money. And so James Dolan is a menacing character in this story, but he has a lot of skin in the game, and one of the reasons that the Knickerbockers exist the way they do with the Dolan family is because of MSG, programming for MSG. And so Dolan, because he's, let's call it like it is, he's a nut job. Like he's used a lot of crazy things over the years, and he gets dismissed as a troublemaker. However, right, he actually has some good points here, such as bad customer service. And say what you want about the product of basketball being garbage, and so many of you complain about pro bouncy ball when I talk about it, and we do a lot of shows during the playoffs in the NBA about pro bouncy ball, and you get very upset. But from a user standpoint, it's not good as a fan. The customer service, you need 5 or 6 streaming services to watch all of your team's games. Forget the other games, just your team's games. Now, ultimately, it is always about the money, right? The NBA, this is where the money is. It's in streaming. It's not in cable. And so people are going there. Of course, what ends up happening is you circle back to the cable, because in the end, with all these nickel and dime operations, you end up costing more money if you want to watch everything. Now, what ends up happening is a lot of people turn to the Russian websites, and you should not do that. It's wrong. Eddie tells me it's wrong to do that. But it's a much better user service to watch on the pirated websites than the actual websites where people are willing to pay for the NBA product. What does that say about the business of basketball? Whereas the user, the customer, you're better off. It's more convenient for you to have a one-stop shop. You can watch every game on the Russian website, shall we say, as opposed to if you go through the NBA's means of doing business, you have to have 5 or 6 different streams, and you have different tiers and all that. Now, the money part of it, Adam Silver, as the guardian of the game, paid by the owners, he is looking to take the league office a massive slice of the $76 billion media rights deal. $76 billion with a B like Ben. And so Dolan's looking at this. He's like, wait a minute. James Dolan's like, so you're taking over $6 billion. You're siphoning that off for no good reason in the middle of the day. You're just not in the middle of the night. You're taking over $6 billion being siphoned out of the media rights deal. And many aristocrats are afraid to speak up because you buy an NBA team, it's a toy for rich people, and you don't want to be kicked out of the club and all that stuff. You don't want to deal with the blowback and all that. And so you're worried about that part of it. James Dolan, though, doesn't care. He's unhinged. Right? Turning the NBA completely, these are his words, not my words. He says that Adam Silver is turning the NBA into a risk-free, idiot-proof business. That's what Dolan said. James Dolan said it. Due to revenue pooling, you are guaranteed to be neither a success nor a failure. Which, if I remember correctly, I haven't been in school in a while. I think that is a form of communism, socialism, right? Everyone gets the same, right? Isn't that somewhere in that little category? So that's what Dolan's complaining about. But ultimately, it's about MSG. And if the NBA was doing the same exact thing and taking $6 billion, but they were keeping the regional cable model intact, then Dolan would not be complaining as publicly as he is. But there is infighting, and I will promise you that he's not alone, because there are other owners, old school owners in the NBA that also have a horse in the race or a dog in the fight when it comes to regional cable. And if they devalue that completely, then they're going to lose a lot of money also. Now, page 2. We go to Sweet Home Chicago, where Euphemie and Eugene in Chicago. Eugene did not stop sending me stories. The entire time I was away, I kept getting messages from Eugene in Chicago about stories that I could not have cared less about. But anyway, one of the stories involving Chicago indirectly, actually it is directly, it's just about a player leaving Chicago. There are reports that are pinpointing the People's team, the Clippers, as a potential landing spot for Zach Lavine. And so the question is, where are you at on that as a fit? So my response, and I'll give this to Eugene in Chicago and all the other guys that are in the Windy City there, I give this one side-eye, that there's some kind of fit there between Zach Lavine from the Bulls and the Clippers here. I don't believe that the Bulls are actually going to trade Zach Lavine. That's the first thing. Because if you pay attention to the chatter around the NBA, he has been available for 3+ years. I'm not exaggerating. I've done the show every night for the most part for many, many years, and over the last 3 or 4 years, Zach Lavine's name has popped up in trade rumors early and often. And yet he remains in the Windy City. Plus, if you look at Zach in terms of connecting him with the People's team, he would be out of central casting for the Clippers. He's a player by basketball standards, is middle-aged. He's in that weird middle of career period. He's got a hefty contract, and he's injury-prone. A lot of empty calories there. A lot of empty calories and a lot of meaningless statistics. A stat bandito, as we like to say in these parts. Zach Lavine, check this out. He has played 580 regular season games. How many playoff games has he played with the Bulls? And remember, he came up with the Timberwolves before that. So it was in Minnesota for a few years, went to Chicago, been in with the Bulls for a while, 580 regular season games. He has played not 1, not 2, not 3, 4. A 4-pack of postseason games. And a lot of that is because he doesn't elevate the play of others around him. That he's a good stat stuffer, and he'll fill the box score, and he'll have a nice hammer dunk now and again, and that's exciting, and people like that. But in terms of actually making people around him better, he hasn't done that. It's the old change of scenery, and maybe he'll go to a team like the Clippers and be better, and good luck. All right, final point. We go to Viva Las Vegas, where Bronny James actually did not suck at a time you should not suck. Video at 11. Nevertheless, he overall still has had more bad than good, even with a stat line that did not pop your eyeballs out when you looked at it. Now, I bring this up because FS1's Rachel Nichols, she's working there. Rachel Nichols says the criticism of Bronny James' Summer League performance is unfair. And she's one of several that have said this. As Eddie told me, Brian Noe, who sat in this chair for me, is singing the sorrows of Bronny James and what a tough road this is for Bronny James. But in terms of Rachel Nichols saying that the criticism of Bronny James' Summer League performances is unfair, is that a valid or invalid take? So it is invalid with a capital I. Capital I. And now I'll just use the Rachel Nichols commentary. She used someone named Isaiah Wong as an example. Now, why would she use somebody named Isaiah Wong? You don't know who that is, but he was the 55th pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the same slot where Bronny James was picked. You don't know who he is at all. But that's the example. She used, nobody obsessed when he had a bad game, and now people are upset with Bronny James. I'm paraphrasing. But that whole conversation is a night out. It's a dinner at the Rusty Pelican Seafood Shack is what it is. It's the catch of the day. It's a red herring. It is a red herring. Bronny James was not treated like Isaiah Wong by anyone. He got a 4-year, $8 million guaranteed contract from the Lakers. Didn't earn it. Didn't deserve it. Got it. Why did he get it? Because he was born on third base, right? He had the silver spoon and the Nepo baby and all that, Nepo James. Now, Isaiah Wong went to college, did things the right way. He got, you know what he got? The standard two-way contract. He played 4 minutes in the NBA for the Indiana Pacers. That's who drafted him. 4 minutes for the Indiana Pacers. He mostly played for a team called the Mad Ants. I'm told that's in the G League. So that's where he played. He played 4 minutes in the NBA, played for the Mad Ants in the G League. He made the minimum salary you can make. He was fired by the Indiana basketball team. They released him. And he's now with a G League team for the Suns. That's the story of Isaiah Wong. Now, you look at Bronny James has got to decide which mansion he wants to live in, what private airline, what Gulfstream plane he wants to fly, and what car service he wants to pick him up, and which armed guard is going to protect him. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different. You don't feel bad for a guy like that. Who feels bad? You're a loser. You're a loser if you feel bad for Bronny James. Shame on you. That's not someone you feel bad for. What are you, a dope? It's ridiculous.